Yes, that's a good boy.
She's waiting for me. Okay guys, so today we're here with Sif. Sif, look at me. So Sif is a pit bull rescue. Found her at the pound a few months ago, and you know, did a little bit of work with her, but mostly we're just, you know, some love and companionship, what we think she needs. She's 5 years old. She was a stray her entire life, and when we brought her in, she has no skills at all. So she doesn't get excited, or she does now, but when we first got her, she didn't wag her tail, didn't want to like jump up on anything. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know how to interact with people or how to be in a house. And one of the weird things was she wasn't even territorial over the house. So she was sitting on the couch one day, new people come through the door, and she didn't care. Like she didn't look at them, bark at them, anything. She just kind of took it as if you know, it was another day. So we do know that she was a neighborhood stray, so she knows how to take food very, very gently. She interacts with people very well, but she has no excitement. She didn't know any tricks, didn't even know sit, which is a really common thing to teach a stray dog or any dog, is sit. So trying to get her a little bit more skills. So today we're gonna do a little bit of a leash walk with her, and I'll show you kind of what some of her issues are and how we like to deal with that. And you know, she's learning, and she's learning really well. She used to literally pull you to the ground to get what she wanted. So I'm gonna grab her leash and leash her up. I'll show you how we do it. So what we have here, and I love this thing. So this is a gentle leader. We have tried harnesses. We've tried the self-tightening leashes, different collar. She even has an e-collar. And this seems to be the one thing that she really does respect. So sit, come, sit. Yes, good girl. Look at me, look at me. She doesn't like it on the nose, so she turns away. Good girl. All right, so this is all you need. It's literally just a leash hooked to the gentle leader, and it goes around the nose and around the top of the ears. And this is so we can control her head movement. So you'll see me do stop and pulls on her, and that doesn't hurt her at all or anything like that. It really just turns her head and, you know, lets her know to look back at me like that. So if you look down at the dog, so if she's not looking at me, I can give her a little pull and it turns her head towards me. So the most important thing about a walk is that it starts inside. So come around here. So the walk always starts inside. The dog has to know that you are in control. You're the one who's handling all the business. So she is not allowed out that door until I tell her she's allowed out the door. And that's extremely important. And there's another side gate there that we're gonna go through, and it's gonna be the same thing. The dog is never allowed out the door until you tell them it's time to go out the door. And that sets the pace for the entire walk, and that's gonna be the attitude we have. Okay, Sif. Okay, come. Good girl. So she earns her way through the doorway. She earns her way through the second gate, and you will keep doing this. The first time I did it, it took 13 minutes, I think I timed it at. You just have to be more stubborn than the dog. And it's really, really important so that she respects you and she understands that this leash is connected to me. And I think there's a dog out there, which is gonna be good, so you guys can kind of see what her attitude is and how I deal with it. All right, let's go. Sit down. So she knows sit. You've seen her sit already. And this is how fixated she is. She knows she's going on the walk, and she's so focused on going on the walk that she doesn't actually care that I'm here. And this is what we're trying to work on with her. Sit down. That's what you do it for a treat. Sit. See, she was eating the treats inside, doesn't care about the treats anymore. And you'll notice that when we go outside. I think she heard the dog that I mentioned, and she doesn't want to listen to me. So what I'll do is I'll push on the butt a little bit and kind of push it to the side so she's off balance, and then pull up on the collar and force her into a sit. Sit. Stay. So she'll sit and stay, but I have to put her in the sit. And it's really annoying. That's not what we want. Eventually she's gonna have to do it on her own. But we need to let her know that what I say goes, and I'm not putting up with it. now if she tries to leave, come back, sit, come on. She's not allowed out the door until I tell her she's allowed out the door. And that's really important. That's the attitude that we're gonna have the whole time. So now that I corrected her, she's waiting for me. All right, let's go. So the concrete is pretty hot here. So normally I would do steps across the asphalt. You can come out. But we're just gonna go straight to the grass because it's pretty hot on her feet and she doesn't have little booties on. Here, come on. Let's go through the shade. Good girl. So when we first got her, she was literally pulling so hard that you would like be leaning into it. I would tie the leash around my waist so that I would have more of a stance and I'd have bruises all across my hips. So, you know, she's definitely getting better. The work has been working for her, but she still has a long ways to go. You know, she's 5 years old and she's spent a few months out of 50 plus months in a home. So it's really different. All right, let's go. So what we want here is I just want her on my side, a loose, relaxed leash, and if she goes ahead of me, it's a stop and a pop. So you're not constant tension, you're not pulling her back to you or begging, you are stopping and popping. And it's down to the side, and you can even like turn your hips away if the dog is really strong. So now that she knows that we're not going yet, we're gonna go get off this top ground. How our walk's gonna go. So I am gonna give her a little bit more leash now that we're on the grass. Not for disciplinary reasons, but just because this is where she likes to go pee. So I'm not gonna, you know, stop and pop. She already sat and waited for me. That was good. There we go. So that's what I was waiting for. And when she's done peeing, did she want poop today? Okay, so she already pooped today. So now that she's done peeing, we're back on our disciplinary. We're focused in, and she's not even allowed to do this. Okay, so I want her here, I want her next to me, and she doesn't even look up at me. She doesn't look up at me, she doesn't care about me, she wants to go where she wants to go. And that's the attitude that we're trying to prevent. So you don't want constant tension on the leash because that will tell her, okay, I need to pull. When they feel the tension, that makes them pull harder, not less. So we want a loose leash, and if she's gonna keep doing that, we're gonna pop her back, and we want the loose leash. Then we're gonna go again and I'll show you the preemptive stop and pops. For most dogs and every other dog that I've worked with, when you do a stop and pop enough times or turn the other way enough times, they actually start looking up at you and waiting for your command. And it's incredibly good because every time they make eye contact, you can treat them. She doesn't care about the treats and she doesn't even care that I'm here. So what we need to do is we need to let her know that this is my walk and you're coming with me, not the other way around. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna show you a few little stop and pops and some turn back and forth to what I like to do. And
so what we're actually wanting here is we want her to be a little bit behind me and constantly checking up with me. So I'm doing a little bit of voiceover because it started to get pretty windy and hard to hear throughout the video. But I do a little stop and pop there because she's not focused on me at all. And now she's even going to the sidewalk on her own and sniffing and searching for other dogs, cats, you know, whatever she can find. And you see, even now, she's stopping when I'm stopping, but only because she's respecting the leash, not because she's respecting that I am the leader of the walk. So what a lot of dogs will do is that they will stop when you stop, and they might look around and everything, but they will check in with you periodically and make that eye contact to, you know, try and figure out when you can go next. So now she's coming with me, which is good. And what I'm going to do here is actually really important, other than the stop and pops. And I'm turning into her. I'm putting my legs in front of her head. And when she is with me or behind me, that makes for a pretty perfect walk because she's paying attention to me. And like I don't have to, you know, hit my leg into her side or anything. I can kind of just walk in front of her. And if your dog's not really paying attention, you can see what I do with her because she's so fixated, is I'll actually like kind of pull on the leash just a tiny bit in the direction that I want her to move, like guiding her that way and letting her know. And you see there's people out here doing a little outside workout. They're there fairly often. She doesn't really care about people that much. She doesn't really want to interact with them. If they're right next to her, she'll kind of be curious, but she's not super curious. So I did a little preemptive stop and pop there to see how with me she was, and she definitely was stopping when I was stopping, but she wasn't stopping quickly. So I didn't give her a pop or a correction because she didn't go far enough to say that, I don't care what you're doing. She kind of just was taking a little bit longer. So that's something that, we'll continue to work on as it goes, but she's definitely getting better. It's really important here, though, that she just stays with me. Like, she needs to know that my energy through the leash is a connection between our bodies, and I'm the leader of the walk. So she needs to follow my lead, and she also needs to acknowledge that we're connected, like we are one with each other. So I'm putting her in a sit here just to get her to stay while I talk at the end here. And you can see she doesn't even care about the treat. She doesn't want to eat it. You can put it in her mouth and she'll spit it out. She's just so focused on outside and so focused on finding that dog or finding that cat that she doesn't actually care about the walk itself.
Bye.
All right, so this is the walk from the following day. So I put the muzzle on her just for safety if anything happens, but I have the gentle leader, so she's not going anywhere. But we did see a dog through the window, so I wanted to bring her out while the dog was there so I could show you guys the fixation and reactivity when it comes to other dogs being there. So we're going to go roughly the same route we were last time, but off to my right, and you can see her looking over there. There's a husky on a leash being walked. So a little stop and pop there just to get her to stop the acceleration. She was getting ready to run. I was looking for the body language, and as I'm not looking, she wants to again go at the other dog. So that's another pop, and then there's another dog now in front of us straight ahead. So she's choosing which dog she wants to look at, and now the husky's on the move. So she's really fixated. She's checking at both dogs, but that husky is way more interesting. So that first jump I wasn't totally prepared for because I was talking, but the second one, you see the stop and turn and pop, and I'll do it again. And the reason the pops are down and to the side, and this is really important, one, it turns her whole body, and it does it in a way that doesn't hurt her. So if you just pull straight back, it like pulls her neck back, and it's just way more uncomfortable for her, and it doesn't provide the same correction. So she's doing much better with at least sitting and being a little bit more calm, but then as soon as she decides she wants to go, she just goes. So what we're doing is I'm trying to get a little bit closer to that dog, and I will just continue to do these corrections until she decides to respect the leash. And, you could do this as many times as it takes, and if it's not working after so long, then we're going to have to switch up the method. So switching it up might be getting a different type of leash or harness. She's also been on a slip lead before, and she responds well to it. And then another option would be to get a very low power e-collar with vibration rather than like an electric shock. And that vibration is just like a reminder to snap out of it. And, she doesn't care that I'm here. The only reason she hasn't taken off after that dog is because I have a leash to stop her. So we're going to continue the walk and see if we can get a little bit closer. But, the husky actually turned a corner, so we're not going to be able to see it again. And she pulled off her muzzle. Okay, so we're not going to end up seeing the dog towards the end of this walk. But I do just want to remind that Sif is a new dog at this point of the recording, and we have never seen her meet or interact with another animal, not a dog, not a cat, or anything. So the precautions we're taking with the gentle leader and the muzzle are only for safety, and safety is the biggest thing when you're out for a walk. We don't know how she's going to react. We haven't bonded that closely up at this point. I actually have probably only met her maybe 10 to 15 times before the recording of this video. So I do have a little bit of familiarity. She likes me, she knows me, she gets excited, but we have no idea, and she's very unpredictable. So all of this is just building respect and teaching her how to properly walk. And reminder from the beginning, she's a lifetime stray, 5 years old, so she doesn't have a set respect for humans.
but the dog's over there now, so I don't think we're gonna get close until the guy comes back, and I don't want to sit there and wait for him. But it's pretty much like the issue she has is she really aggressively wants to get to the other dog. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's vicious. I haven't seen her vicious yet, but she definitely wants to interact in some way, and that's why it's nerving to let her do it, because you don't know if it's going to be an aggressive interaction or if she just really wants to play, which some dogs are. But see, her sitting like this is a much better alternative than the pulling. So that's why the way you teach it is literally when she is having an aggressive behavior or a pulling behavior towards the other dog, you turn her away from the dog so it's not looking at it, and you make her sit, stand over her, and assert yourself, and pretty soon she just does it on her own. So this is a better alternative behavior, but she's still fixated. And
So the day after this video, I was lucky enough to bring her into the doggy daycare that I work at and introduce her to a few dogs in a safe environment and see how she reacts. So I'll show you guys what that looks like.
You're crazy! You're crazy! Here's a baby!
Hi, Bunny! Hi, Bunny! Alright guys, that's going to conclude for our first video with Sif. I hope you guys really enjoyed meeting her. She's the sweetest dog ever, and I can't wait to get more content.